have you spoken with the governor about this, and do you have reason to believe that he'll support this?
I had lunch with the governor on Monday and had a broad-based discussion on many issues. We did talk in quite a bit of detail on the gas industry, on the impacts, and at this point, Brad, what I can say is I've got a caution light. I don't have a red light. I don't have a green light, but I see a caution light. And we're going to continue. We've been working with them, and I think that as everything that the governor has said publicly and privately, we're doing our best to address.
Senator Robert Swift, it looks like on the revenue side, if you're still working out some of the exact percentages as far as the distribution between the local services fund and the, and the CSA environmental funding.
I'm sorry, I don't know. I couldn't hear the question.
Are you still working out, you say, a portion of the fee? Are you still working out those exact percentages of this thing?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And it's fair to say that within a week we would expect to have something in bill form, we want to make sure that certainly we're not too heavy on one percentage or the other, but we want to make sure that each of them.
Senator Scott Detrow with PA Public Radio. Would you be able to kind of take a step back and just explain the broad parameters of how this base fee would work and what kinds of things trigger a higher fee for each well?
Sure. Well, there will be a base fee. Okay. The base fee that I'm proposing is $10,000. Now, that then is adjusted. That base fee amount is adjusted by a volume factor and a price adjustment factor. And those factors, of course, have ranges, and as the price goes up and as volume goes up, those factors go up. So it's going to be a fee that will certainly, in our opinion, we're talking about a base amount in this scenario that we provided you with, and the revenues will continue to rise as those adjustment factors change. And if they don't change, this is the base. What we're seeing here is a very conservative model, and it is an estimate. All of our estimates are very conservative. So we are anticipating these revenues just based upon our own formula to be higher than this. But I'm not going to put out huge numbers and impress people that we may never obtain. These are numbers that we're in today's world are obtainable. And just comparing, for instance, last year the Arkansas model with the same current gas price, we would have brought into the state a little over $25 million. Under this plan, it's $45 million. So there's a significant difference in how we are using these price factors and volume factors to get an impact fee.
Senator Tony Romeo, KYWKDKA, you say you'd get a caution light from the governor. I assume that means he has expressed some concerns?
Well, I think that the governor's concerns are the parameters that he has set forth. General fund, he doesn't want anything going to the general fund. He doesn't want to have anything that looks like WANs. And I agree with that. Look, when we're talking about statewide environmental cleanup programs, I saw a little criticism yesterday from my good colleague, Senator Furlow. I wish you would have waited till he heard what I had to say, but we do have a statewide component to this, and it's a significant component. And so as the governor's concerned on one end, there's, we're trying to do a balancing act. But you know what? In my opinion, those that have been clamoring for this, for a severance tax or an impact fee, on the issue of the environment, then they should be very supportive in the fact that, we are putting dollars into real cleanup programs.
Is the governor concerned that that environmental aspect does not meet his parameters regarding putting money into a statewide fund?
I can't speak for the governor on that, Tony, but what I can say is, this is not going to be a wham pot to be used to build parking garages and monuments. This is for real remediation. I think the governor would be supportive of that. But I think you got to ask the governor that question.
Yeah, sorry. Senator, it's John Lysick from the Morning Call. Just wanted to ask one more time about why you believe this fits the definition of a fee structure and not a tax, and what you think the subtleties between the two are.
Well, I've got two answers to that. The first answer, why this is a fee and not a tax, certainly is because none of the revenue goes to the state fund. There's no exemptions in this for capital recovery. There's not offsetting any credits, tax credits, nothing. This is a straight fee. And with the PUC, this is a straight fee going to the PUC with the distribution formula. So, as we compare taxes that go to the general fund, they're absolute any use. This has very specific uses. This is uses going exactly as we have seen in the trash industry, landfills. A community that has a landfill receives a tipping fee. The county receives a tipping fee. And that's to offset the impacts of that landfill in that locale. So that's the number one difference between what I believe is being what is a tax. I believe the other difference is, what's the difference between it being a tax? Governor Corbett's pen. That will be the ultimate test. What's a fee and a tax? So, those that continue to talk about, we want a severance tax, a true statewide severance tax, I think they are forgetting the reality that we have a governor who has, for a year, says publicly and privately, he will veto a tax. So I don't think that there's any merit in either legislative body to be pushing ahead with a severance tax and delaying this for well over another year. So the governor's pen is the ultimate test, John. Thank you.
Hey, Senator, it's Laura Olson with the Post-Gazette. I wanted to go back to what Scott Detrow was talking about.
Who are you with, Laura?
I'm really just jumping around the newsroom.
Okay.
On increasing the fee on production and on the price of gas. As I understand it, a single well produces a lot of gas up front, and then that production goes down as its life continues. So if the amount of revenue is going to continue to rise, is that expecting a continuance of new wells, or how would that revenue continue to grow?
Well, based upon our formula, we capture that. In the other models that we were looking at last year, Laura, it was really, in those early years, there were exemptions so they could write off capital costs. This being a straight fee, there's no exemption. So, in the first years of production, obviously the revenue will be much higher as we move forward, and certainly lower in the out years. So we capture that. It's our formula is going to be very straightforward. Base fee times a multiplier for production times a multiplier for the price of gas.
So higher than a tax would be, but not higher as the fee continues.
I think I'm missing your question, Laura.
For a particular well, the amount that a driller has to pay will continue to go down over time, but with the tax version.
Production, absolutely. I mean, theoretically, if gas prices go up and stay up, and production could drop, there could be no offset. There could be no decline. So there is a there is a certain unknown in this. But what we've used is the we're using gas prices to calculate these years that are historically the lowest we've seen. So we're anticipating these fees and the revenue estimates to, on our formula, basically decline from these levels based on production and price of gas going up.
Senator Mark Leakey from the Associated Press wanted to see if you could talk about what would possibly be the upper range of revenue that would be collected on a high-producing well if gas is, say, above $5 per thousand cubic feet. I mean,
great question. I don't have a calculator in front of me, but what I can tell you is, if we're basing 2012 on $4 and up to $4.50 MCF, and that price goes up 25%, I think it's fair to say that those revenues from 100 plus million go up significantly. But it's a scale that we still got a few more trial runs to make sure that we have no spots in it that aren't producing where we want them to produce. So I think that in the coming days, I'll be more than glad to give you some greater scenarios, Mark, on what the upside is. But clearly, this is the base, and the upside based upon volume and gas price significantly drive the revenues higher.
But the one of the fact sheets here says it basically says if there's a relatively modest increase in the price of gas, say to $5 per thousand cubic feet, that in theory this proposal would collect $1 billion over 5 years. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. That's over 5 years. For me to give you a year-to-year or a picture of just $5 MCF in 1 year based upon our production, I need to do a calculation for that. But look, as I said, revenues can take off with this very quickly, and so there's a huge look. There's incentive here for production and an incentive here for price of gas go up for revenues. So.
Senator, if I might, this is Drew Crompton. To Mark's and to Laura's question, the upper range could be above 25,000 per well. It could drive as well as high as 35,000 a well under some of the estimates.
The following participant has joined the conference.
Under the estimate right now, but to both your point, some of those increased numbers, especially to Laura's point, is also built on considerably more wells over the next 24 months. As the papers have said, we're making rather conservative estimates on the number of wells that are going to be in the ground, but some of this increase isn't just based on large wells or gas prices. It's also built on a very solid computation of how many more wells we're going to put in the ground. And over the next 24 months, we're going to see a lot more wells in the ground, probably outpacing even what we detailed in this summary.
And I think, and that's a point that we're trying to drive home, is that what we've done is very conservative, and it isn't pie in the sky in any sense. And even the conservative numbers that we use are well above the estimated severance tax from last year's model, from the Arkansas model. This is no giveaway. This is no giveaway, and I don't know what the reaction. Basically, I'm sure that you'll be calling industry folks. I'm sure that some may have some stronger opinions than others.